The Mitsubishi Xpander has been a staple in the Philippine MPV market. Now, while we wait for the facelifted 2022 Mitsubishi Xpander, we have here the sinister-looking Mitsubishi Xpander Black Edition. In this video, we get to drive the Xpander Black Edition and see if it can deliver more than just handsome good looks. Let's do this! Hello guys, I'm Reagan and welcome back to another car review. If you're new to my channel, I want you to click that subscribe button for your regular dose of Philippine automotive content. If you're my subscriber already, well, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. But first, click that like button. Also, special thanks to Mitsubishi Motors Philippines for lending me the Xpander Black Edition to do this review. Sometime back, I got to review the Mitsubishi Xpander Cross. Now, in that review video, I did mention that I prefer the looks of the Xpander GLS over the Xpander Cross because the Xpander GLS kinda made more aesthetic sense. Now this Black Edition we have here is essentially an Xpander GLS in this deep black color, and I have to say this guys, this thing looks so darn good. Now this has got to be one of the deepest blacks that I've seen in any of the cars that I've reviewed, and I'm also pretty happy that this media unit that I have here comes with this super dark tint on the windows because no other tint color will go well with this particular black unit. Now speaking of tint, here's a word from today's video sponsor. When you live in a tropical country, window tint is a vital upgrade to your car. However, not all window films are created equal. Solarex is an Italian-made ceramic film that helps to reduce glare and provides better heat rejection and clarity. Solarex also provides better privacy and protection at night while keeping your vision clear. And the best part guys, Solarex is also RFID friendly, so you can mount your RFID tags inside your windshield. So if it's good enough for a Ferrari or a Lamborghini, then it should be good enough for your car. And that, my friends, is the best part. You see, Solarex window film is an affordable option for your vehicle. Now mention the code that you're seeing on your screen right now for an extra 5% discount on your window film installation. Oh yeah, and before I forget, you also get a free shot of scotch while you wait. Solarex window film, top-notch quality, affordable price. Now aside from super dark tint, it would also be best to invest in top quality ceramic coating for this paint. You see, black is such an elegant color, but it's also a second job trying to keep this thing clean and flawless all the time. Now in case you're wondering guys, this Mitsubishi Xpander Black Edition has a retail price of 1,138,000 Philippine pesos, which is around 10,000 Philippine pesos more expensive than a standard Xpander GLS. The Xpander Black Edition comes in two colors, whether it's in pearl white, weird, or this jet black mica. Now if you were to ask me guys, I'd go all in and get the Xpander Black in this jet black mica. You see, usually when you black out something, you do that to prevent it from standing out. But the exact opposite happened to this jet black mica Xpander Black Edition. You see, when I'm driving it down the road, it looks like a black jewel and it completely stands out. Now, we get all black trimmings here, from the front grille to the trimmings of the dynamic shield to the housing of your fog lights. Now the only thing that's left as chrome here in the front fascia is the Mitsubishi logo, which surprisingly provides a really good contrast on this facade along with the LED DRLs and LED headlights. Here on the side, the Xpander Black Edition gets some more blacked out bits that help it stand out. All the possible chrome bits here have been blacked out. Now, the power folding side mirrors gets a blacked out side mirror housing here. We also have LED turn signals there. Now, if you look at the window trim has also been blacked out, as well as the door handles. And we also get a set of 16-inch blacked out alloy wheels. Now, these blacked out wheels kind of look aftermarket to me, although they are tastefully done. Now, behind those wheels, guys, well, we still get the same budget mechanical bits that you'd expect from the Xpander lineup. We get ventilated disc brakes up front, drum brakes at the back, and for the suspension, we have a MacPherson setup in the front and a torsion beam at the back. Now, the ground clearance of this Xpander Black Edition is still the same as the other Xpanders at 205 millimeters, with the exception of the Xpander Cross, guys. So yeah, that's tall enough to go over a light flood, but not too tall to make it easy for people to get in and out of the Xpander Black Edition. The rear end of the Xpander Black looks striking because it combines this deep and glossy black paint with this gorgeous looking LED taillight assembly. Now, I don't know about you guys, but when you see this at night, man, this Xpander Black Series is truly a gorgeous black beauty. Now guys, when you pop open the manual liftgate of this thing, you'll see that even with the third row in use, we could still fit a medium-sized luggage here. And I love the fact that we also get some large cubby spaces underneath the floorboard for extra items. Now, in case you're looking for the spare tire of this Xpander Black Series, well, that can be found underneath the vehicle. And in case you need more space, well, you can always tumble down the third row seats. And doing so will now give you enough space for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 medium-sized luggage. Now, if you're transporting larger items like plyboard or furniture, well, you can also tumble down the second row seats, and that should expand your cargo capacity to fit whatever it is that you're carrying. The Xpander Black Edition gets the exact same engine that can be found in the entire Xpander lineup, including the Xpander Cross. In fact, the upcoming facelifted 2022 Xpander also gets the same powertrain. See, what we have here is a 1.5-liter, 4-cylinder, naturally aspirated gasoline motor that puts out 103 horsepower and 141 Newton meters of torque. Now, the power is still sent to the front wheels via a 4-speed automatic transmission. I did say in my Xpander Cross review video that the 4-speed automatic transmission is archaic, but I'd rather get that 4-speed over a CVT. And the reason behind this, well, the 4-speed automatic of the Xpander is tuned brilliantly because it gives a good amount of low-end torque but balances it out with a stellar level of fuel efficiency. In fact, guys, I got even better fuel economy figures in this Xpander Black Edition versus the Xpander Cross. You see, the Xpander Black on a city drive gave me 10.7 kilometers per liter, and on a highway run, I was able to get 19.7 kilometers per liter. Now, this Xpander Black is around 50 kilograms lighter than the Xpander Cross. So that's around 100 pounds, guys. So yeah, I guess that played a tiny role in improving the fuel efficiency of this Xpander Black Edition. Woo! Init! Aircon, so hot! Anyway, guys, so once you're inside the cabin of the Xpander Black, you'll see that it is exactly identical to the cabin of an Xpander GLS. Now, having said that, guys, we do get just fabric seats here, but I have to say this, these are some of the most comfortable fabric seats that I've ever sat in the value MPV category. Now, the steering wheel is also wrapped in leather, and I do love the fact that we get audio controls here as well as buttons for standard cruise control. Now, another welcome surprise, guys, is the wheel here also tilts and it also telescopes, something that I didn't really expect to see in this category. Now, here's another bit of good news here, guys. When you check out the instrument gauge cluster here, this Xpander Black also comes with an actual engine temperature gauge instead of nothing at all. You see, I'm always a stickler for an engine temperature gauge in the car rather than just having a red warning light in case your engine is overheating. You see, I have a friend who was just driving her car down the highway and that overheat light, that warning light came on and she didn't really see it, she didn't realize it, and she just kept driving until her engine died out on her, and it resulted into a massive engine meltdown. So yeah, an engine temperature gauge presents a clearer and better visual warning that you'll need to stop your vehicle in case you're overheating. Now, as for the safety bits of this Xpander Black Series, as you can see on your screen, well, it is exactly identical to the Xpander GLS, which means that it's leaning more towards the basic side. Now, guys, when you look over to your infotainment system, well, this Black Series also just gets a 7-inch touchscreen infotainment system, which only makes do with Bluetooth connectivity and smartphone mirroring. We don't get CarPlay here or Android Auto. If you want those niceties, guys, well, you'll just have to wait for the facelifted 2022 Xpander model. Now, good thing here is we do get the image of a reverse camera, so that is also a big plus for me. Now, when you move down from there, we also have here an engine push start button, which means that this Xpander Black Series comes with a smart key fob, and we also have a manual climate control setup. Now, moving down further, we have a couple of cup holders here, which I will subject to my 600 milliliter clean canteen test. So let's see. As you can see, it easily passes my clean canteen test. Now, beside this pair of cup holders, we also have a manual handbrake here. And if you'll notice, we don't really get a center armrest here, pretty much similar to the other value MPVs in the category. Well, with the exception of the all-new Toyota Avanza, which now gives us a center armrest. Now, as for the cabin materials used here, guys, now I do know that it looks like leather, but if you touch them, yeah, pretty similar to the Xpander Cross. Everything is hard touch plastic. However, guys, well, despite that, I really find this cabin to be quite comfortable and familiar, and yeah, pretty straightforward to drive. Here at the second row, well, we do get a pretty typical value MPV space right here. I'm 5'6", guys, and as you can see, this is my driving position. And I get around, yeah, the same as Xpander Cross, get around 6-7 inches of knee room here, and the same amount, around 7-8 inches of headroom. It's pretty much average for a value MPV. And I also like the fact that the doors are also on the larger side, as you can see. And getting in and out of this vehicle is also pretty easy because of the lower floor. Now, as for the amenities here at the back, well, par for the course, we get a row of AC vents mounted on the ceiling, plus its own blower control. And we also have here this center part that folds down like this to become your center armrest, although it doesn't really come with a pair of cup holders. Now, as for the absolute space, guys, you could fit 2 average Asian adults here. A third one will fit in the middle. It's gonna be pretty decent, guys. Not really gonna be that tight, but for maximum comfort, it's always best to just keep it to 2 passengers. Now, the Xpander Black is a 7-seater, so we also have a third row, but I'm not gonna go into the third row anymore, guys. I already did that with the Xpander Cross review video. If you haven't watched it, you can check the link, I think over here, or maybe here, yeah. But in a nutshell, yeah, the third row seats, they're perfectly serviceable for short trips. They're not as tight as the ones you'd find in, let's say, the Toyota Rush, but they are not as spacious as the one I saw in the Suzuki Ertiga. Alright guys, so we are now driving the Xpander Black Edition. In fact, I've been driving it for close to a week now, guys. And here are the words that come to mind whenever I'm driving this thing. Familiar, easy to drive, comfortable. You see, I've driven Mitsubishi Lancers in the past. We've owned Lancers. We've owned Mitsubishi Adventures as well in the past. And if you've been driving Mitsubishis for a while now, well, driving the Xpander Black Edition would feel so familiar, guys. I mean, this thing is just simple, straightforward, and easy to drive. Now, comparing it to the Xpander Cross, which I also got to drive for a few days, well, it surprised me that this Xpander Black Edition feels a tad bit lighter on its feet. Now, I didn't mention that this Xpander Black Edition is lighter by 50 kilograms, and that's actually a small person or a child, in fact. So, yeah, I guess that also helps contribute to the overall light feeling of this MPV. It feels more like a crossover, in fact, rather than an SUV. While the Xpander Cross, despite being on the same platform, although yeah, it has larger wheels and a slightly higher ground clearance, well, the Xpander Cross feels more like an SUV. While this Xpander Black feels more like a crossover. However, the Xpander Black Edition is also plagued by the same NVH levels as the Xpander Cross that I also got to drive. You see, the Xpander Black Edition is quiet when you're going around slow speeds like what we're going through now. Granted, we're just in a village, but when you take this thing out to 60 kilometers per hour, and that's the minimum speed that you can travel on the highway, yeah, the wind noise starts to creep in. At 80 kilometers per hour, it becomes a bit louder, and once you top out at the top speed of our highways, which is 100 kilometers per hour, well, the wind noise will make you reach for your infotainment system and start to play some tunes, because yeah, it could get a little bit too loud for my taste. Now, as for the steering feel of the Xpander Black, well, it has a really good and sharp steering feel here. It responds quickly, pretty surprising. It's something that I didn't expect in this value MPV class, but yeah, it's got a good amount of feedback to it, and it responds fairly quickly enough. See? Granted, it's not as sharp as sports sedans and sports cars, but for a value MPV, it is sharper than the rest. Now, as for the brake feel of this Xpander Black Edition, well, I did mention in my Xpander Cross review video that the brake feel of that MPV was kind of stiff, it was hard, and it felt like I was stepping on a piece of plyboard. I was surprised that this Xpander Black Edition, while it's a little bit stiffer than its competition, well, it's not as bad as the one I experienced in the Xpander Cross. And that kind of surprised me, because I'm pretty sure that Mitsubishi is using pretty much the same brake components in this thing as well as the Xpander Cross. But yeah, for some reason, this has a much better brake feel than its burlier sibling. Now, as for the acceleration, well, as you can see, we have a pretty steep road in front of us, and I'm in standstill, and I'm just on drive. I'm not going to put it in low gear. I'm going to show you that despite having a 4-speed automatic, see, the Xpander can deliver a good level of torque down low, which will help it negotiate steep, hilly roads like what we're going through now. I don't know if my camera can see it, guys, but this is a pretty steep road. See? It's a winding, steep road here. I'm in a pretty hilly village here, guys. And as we're climbing up, you see, you hear a little bit of the engine, but it's not strained. Now granted, I am only one person here inside the Xpander, but I have full confidence that even with a full load of passengers, it can easily go up steep roads like what it just did right now. Of course, when it comes to top-end speed though, well, don't expect too much. Okay, this is still a 1.5 liter non-turbo gasoline motor. It's still equipped with a 4-speed automatic that really just gives the power down low. But on the top end, yeah, it's gonna lose its breath. It's gonna run out of air, guys. Don't expect it to accelerate as hard as, let's say, more powerful crossovers or SUVs, because it's not going to happen. Now, this Xpander Black Edition is really meant for more leisurely and relaxing drives. But it's not anemic in any way. I would say it's decent. I'd even go as far as saying that it's actually, it's a tad bit faster than some of the other contenders in the category. But yeah, you just cannot compare it to a more powerful crossover. Now overall, guys, well, I've always said in the video that this is a value MPV and all that, but this Xpander Black Edition has a certain air of authority to it. I mean, it must be the blacked out bits that this thing has, but it just looks so refined, and it looks even more expensive than what its price will suggest. So the overall blacked out bits, the overall black theme going on with this Xpander Black Edition, I'll have to say this, guys, it really works. Driving the Xpander Black Edition fully cemented my assessment that this is the best variant of the Xpander in the local market. You see, it's so easy and comfortable and familiar to drive, plus it has a good level of fuel efficiency to boot. Now pair that with this deep jet black mica paint job, and guys, this is fast becoming one of my favorites in the value MPV category. Now just make sure that you apply some premium ceramic coating on this paint job, as well as purchase a super dark Solarex tint for your windshield and your windows, and you're good to go. Anyway, thanks for watching.